Brenda is trying all he can to get the barriers back on side, and he's come out today and he's hyped up the fact he defended the team. I will defend this Celtic badge to the death. Damn it, he's come out in his presser, of course, because it's Cup weekend, baby. It's not Scottish Premiership weekend, which I would rather it be. I'm being honest. I wish the Cup was midweek. But then if it was midweek, how would Rangers fit it in? Because we actually do not watch Emmerdale. We go to European games midweek, folks. But anyway, let's see what Brendan Rodgers had to say here. He said, my job is to defend the team, defend the club, and that's what we will do in this case. We will defend it vigorously. End of quote there for big Brendan Rodgers. So he's getting stuck in, he's wasting no time. Of course, Brendan Rodgers, there's a lot of people calling for his head at Celtic. But here, it's very easy for Brendan Rodgers to try this narrative, because if he came out and said, well, you know what, actually, some of the decisions that went against us in the Hearts game were bad, but we didn't turn up, we weren't good enough, then some people would be like, oh, Brendan, are you trying to suggest that you're not good enough and you couldn't get these players turned up? Of course, he was always going to go with this mentality and the narrative that, it was the officials that cost us. I'll tell you what cost Celtic against Hearts. They were pish, alright? And yeah, was there some questionable decision making? There absolutely was. But it just didn't affect the Hearts as well. Let's not take it. The penalty that was awarded that Adam Adea thankfully missed was an absolute disgrace, man. Some of the softest things you'll ever see in your life. I think the red card was correct, but the penalty the Hearts got wasn't correct. Now here, does that make it right though? Did whoever was on, Don Robertson, he's the man, did he think, well, you know what, actually, that wasn't a penalty that we've gave to Celtic to kick off? Adam Adea might have missed it, so we'll give Hearts that. Now that narrative does float about that the referees think like that, and I actually do think sometimes they do think like that. Oh well, I got that one wrong. It means for the next one, if that team gets it against them, then I'll change it. That means they've both got one wrong against them. Absolutely mental. Before we go on though about defending club and honour and whatever, he talked about Liel Abada, because of course Liel Abada is he's left the club, 10 million, even though it's more like 3 million. But let's see what he said about it. He says, it is desperately sad, the whole situation. He signed a new deal, but now, through no fault of his own or the club's, he's had to leave to take his career elsewhere. Well, no fault of his own or the club's. In order for this to happen, it has to be someone's. So, technically, Celtic as a club don't support Palestine. It's more like the Green Brigade, right? And, the boys, so to speak, the Green Boys, or the Celtic Boys, whatever they're called, the other ultra group. So, is Brendan Rodgers throwing shade at that group of fans? Because if you're saying it's not Abada's fault, and it's not the club's fault, then therefore it has to be the fans that sit in the corner of Celtic Park, Brenda. That's who you're pretty much getting on at here. I don't see what other way he's trying to spin this. Now, if you want to hear us talk about Liel Abada a wee bit more and in detail, we did upload a video earlier on today, because of course that's when he left the football. So that's the video about him going to Charlotte. It's a shame, because he's a good player. From my point of view, my biased point of view, I want Celtic to lose their best players. I think Liel Abada is one of them. They didn't make too much money on him, so that's always better. But back to the task at hand here, and that is Brendan Rodgers saying about he's defending himself and he's defending the club. Now, he was asked, do you regret your remarks? And he says, no, not at all. Not a chance. Not anything. Now, he was talking as well about the Yang incident with Alex Cocker, and he did go into a bit more detail, and he said, we had a report back to the studs and boot was in the face of a player, which clearly a couple of days later, when we get that report, it says it's clearly not the case when you watch it at Rodgers. I've seen incidents worse than that, and I thought the on-field decision was correct, a yellow card. I just don't get this, because this is the same guy who said if you boot someone in the face, it has to be, a red. As we've seen against Celtic away at St Mirren a couple of months ago. Brendan Rodgers said that, so make your mind up, Brendan. Come on, son. Come on. And this is what he said to finally wrap up about Liel Abada. I really, really was looking forward to working with him over a period of time, see if we could improve his game and develop his game. We wish him all the very best now over in America. So there you have it, troops. That is pretty much it for Brendan Rodgers talking to the media. I mean, as for Liel Abada, I do think he will be back in Britain. I think he'll definitely get a move to England in some form, whether it's the Premier League or Championship, before he hangs up his boots. I think he will return to European football. He's too good a player not to. Young hot prospect, hot spec. What am I talking about? Anyway, what do you think about Big Brendan's comments? Leave it down below. I'm still feeling under the weather, but anyway, let's go. Bye bye. 2-1. Good night.